Capricorn, welcome to your monthly forecast for September 2023. In this video, I will walk through some of the energy that you will be moving through for the month of September. And so coming into the month, we have quite a few planets retrograde. We still have Venus retrograde, which is an energy that we've been moving through for a couple of months now. Venus rules your fifth house of hobbies and interests, children, what you do for fun. And Venus also rules your 10th house of career and public reputation. And so while Venus has been retrograde, you may have been rethinking and reevaluating these themes and topics. Now, coming into the month, we also have Mercury retrograde here in Virgo, which is in your ninth house. The ninth house rules higher education, higher knowledge, long distance travel, philosophy, also belief systems. So you may be rethinking some of your belief systems at this time. Now, Mercury also rules your sixth house of work, health, and daily routine. So you may also be readjusting and rethinking your routines, your day-to-day routines, your routines at work, maybe your nutrition habits or your health habits during this Mercury retrograde. On September 3rd, we have Venus station direct here in your eighth house. And Venus is also in your eighth house, which is your represents your partner's finances, money coming in from outside resources, taxes, inheritance. And so during this Venus retrograde, you may be moving through, certain experiences or situations with those themes and topics. Now, when Venus stations direct, this is where you may receive almost like an epiphany or something clicks with whatever you've been moving through with this Venus retrograde energy. So if you've been rethinking, career choices or maybe a new position within your job, this is where maybe you decide you're ready to take that position, or you not even necessarily implement it at this time, but it's where you almost make the decision to implement it, if that makes sense. And then also with Venus ruling your fifth house, if there's something you've been moving through with your children, this is where, you can finally have that epiphany around, that decision. Or if you've been rethinking, something around your creativity or hobbies or interests, now is when something, might click with that. On September 4th, we have Jupiter here in your fifth house station retrograde. And this Jupiter retrograde is interesting because Jupiter is going to move back to 5 degrees of Taurus. And back in April, the end of April and beginning of May, we had Mercury retrograde over this exact same spot in your chart from exact same degrees too, from 15 degrees to 5 degrees. And so maybe, back the end of April, beginning of May, maybe there was some information coming in, or maybe you had a conversation with somebody and now you're revisiting that. Maybe there's an opportunity that was brought to your attention back then that you are rethinking. Now, Jupiter will be retrograde until December 30th. So this is an energy that we are moving through for the remainder of 2023. Jupiter also rules your 12th house. And so while Jupiter is retrograde, you can be, tapping into your spirituality. This is also a time where you can be reprogramming your subconscious beliefs, patterns, and habits. The 12th house also is the house of karma. The 12th house is also the house of self-undoing. And so you do want to be watching for any self-undoing behavior, self-sabotaging, especially between now and the end of the year, just because Jupiter will be retrograde. However, if you do struggle, with self-undoing behavior, this is a time where you can really reprogram the energy around that. September 6th, we have the Mercury Cazimi up here in your ninth house. And so during a Mercury Cazimi, we can have some really sudden insight. For the first week of September, we will be moving through this Mercury combust energy, which can sometimes bring brain fog. It can sometimes bring a lack of clarity. When we have Mercury Cazimi, which is when the sun and Mercury come pretty much exact, this is where we can have an epiphany. We can have a lot of intuitive downloads. We can have, this sudden insight. And so with Mercury ruling your sixth house, this can roll your sixth house and your ninth house. This can bring, clarity, to whatever has shown up with these sixth house topics, whether it's been your work routine, your health routine, nutrition habits, whatever you've been moving through with this Mercury energy. This is where this Mercury retrograde energy, this is where, you can have some sudden insight or clarity around that. And also with these ninth house topics. So if you've been moving through, thinking about traveling or thinking about going to school or taking a course, or reprogramming your beliefs or really readjusting your beliefs in some way, this is where you can have a sudden epiphany around that or clarity around that. On September 14th, we have the new moon in Virgo at 21 degrees. And so don't pay attention to this moon at 19. The moon will eventually work its way to 21 degrees, and we will have the new moon here at 21 degrees of Virgo. And so the new moon is kind of, working with this area and these themes and topics, which is that ninth house, that higher education, maybe taking a course. This is definitely a good time where you can set intentions to possibly, implement or enroll in a new course or travel. This is where you can also set intentions to reprogram your beliefs or shift your beliefs in some way. On September 15th, we have Mercury stationing direct. And so when a planet stations, the energy of that planet becomes more intense. It becomes a little bit more felt. And so with whatever you've been moving through with these ninth and sixth house topics, where, if you've been moving through something with your work, your routine, your health, your nutrition, even your pets also reside in the sixth house. Or if you've been, moving through energy around your beliefs, travel, higher education or knowledge, this is where, you can kind of start to decide, what you want to do with all of that. This isn't really a time where we implement anything or start to move in a certain direction, but this is when we get the idea to. This is when we get that epiphany or that insight to take that new direction in some way. September 16th, we have Venus form a square to Jupiter. And this is an energy that we have been moving through. So it's not necessarily anything new showing up for you. However, this is, where something can show up because Venus does rule your 10th house of career, public reputation, and Venus also rules your fifth house of, your creativity, your children, your hobbies, your interests, what you do for fun. This is where something may be showing up for you that can be a little bit of an annoyance, something brought to your attention that you have to work through, whether it is at your career, your job, or with your children. And then on September 19th, we have the sun opposing Neptune. But if you look, we have this beautiful kite configuration. Now, this will be felt a little bit differently for us collectively, where, collectively we are possibly hearing a lot of information at this time that can be a little bit confusing, where we're not knowing the direction that we're moving in. There can be just a lot coming out at this time that's, you know, it's Neptune, so it can be confusing. We also want to watch for deception too, because of this Neptune energy. But individually, this can be a really beautiful energy to tap into because of this beautiful kite configuration. The sun represents our soul's expression, our life force energy. Neptune is a very spiritual planet. And then we have the sun forming a trine here to Pluto, also a trine here, not a tight trine, but it's still felt here to Uranus, and Uranus is known as the Great Awakener. And then Pluto is a very powerful planet. It's a very psychic planet. It has very psychic energy. And then with Pluto even connecting to here to Neptune and Uranus even connecting here to Neptune, it's just this really beautiful energy to tap into to do any spiritual work, to enhance your intuition in some way. This is a really beautiful energy to raise our frequency and raise our vibration. Now, even once we move to September 20th, we have the sun form that trine to Pluto exact. And again, that's very psychic energy, very powerful. So, September 19th and September 20th is a great day to meditate, to tap into the energies around you, do any type of spiritual work, really tap into your intuition, enhance your intuition, develop your intuition. Then, September 23rd, we have the sun enter Libra. So, we start Libra season. So, the sun enters your 10th house of career and public reputation. Now, I also do want to mention that through the month of September, you will have Mars in your 10th house, which can bring in, you can be really busy at work. This is where you also want to watch for conflict at work, aggression, just anger with coworkers. Or, if you work with the people, with the public, you can be dealing with a lot of angry people during this month. So it is an energy you do want to be mindful of with Mars moving through your 10th house. But with the sun here, there can be a lot of focus with your career. Maybe you are really thinking of implementing something new within your career or within your business in some way. On September 28th, we have Venus forming a square to Uranus here, and Venus ruling your 10th house of career and public reputation, and also your 5th house of children and hobbies and interests and creativity. This is where, something can show up a little bit unexpectedly, but again, it is an energy you've already been moving through, so it might not be anything really new. It can be, an annoyance that shows up that you didn't expect that you have to address. It can be, something again showing up within your career. A possible conflict, is how this could actually show up because of that Mars energy. Maybe you have an unexpected argument with a coworker or I hope not a client. But if you're in service or you work with the public, maybe you're met with, an angry person that's coming at you that's very unexpected that you're having to kind of address. This can also, be something coming up with your children. If you have children, something showing up that's maybe unexpected. But again, it is an energy you've kind of already been moving through. And also too, because Venus is in your 8th house, it could be something coming in, regarding your partner's finances or a loan or taxes, inheritance, or money coming in from outside resources in some way. So something you do just want to be a little bit mindful of. And then on September 29th, we have that full moon in Aries right here in your 4th house of home, family, property, real estate. Now, this full moon will be at 6 degrees right here. So, not 11 degrees. It will be at 6 degrees, 0 minutes, which is actually quite interesting. So, this is a really beautiful time. This moon will be lighting up your house of home and family. Maybe you're thinking, more about your family, spending a lot of time at home. This can also be a time where you are starting to see the manifestations of the intentions that you set at the time of the new moon in Aries, but also the new moon of this lunar cycle of this, this previous month of the new moon that we had in Virgo. And so, if you think back to the end of March, beginning of April, when we had the new moon in Aries, what were you trying to get going at that time? What intentions did you set? Now is when you can see, those intentions start to manifest. Capricorn, I hope that this horoscope helps you navigate the energy for September. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you in the next one.